Daymond, we've been together on Shark Tank forever. What have you learned now after spending 10 years on the show? What's different now? What's changed for you?
The quality of the deals are much different. They're much better. The quality of the deals, I think the casting agents who were casting agents in the beginning didn't know, what a good deal was or a good business was. And because they were casting agents, somebody would say to them, I'm doing $30 million in business. I got one employee. They didn't realize that they should say, are you selling crack or are you selling heroin? But now that they know the deal flow is better. So because after sitting and watching all of us debate these deals over the last couple of years, they bring a better quality. Also, I don't even think Instagram was out when Shark Tank first started. And now you have a lot of social media conversions. So we know how to test the deals, and those people know how to actually sell without being dependent on retail. I think they know us much better than we know them. They know us, period. We don't know them, so they know how to push in our buttons. And some of these people were 10 years old when Shark Tank first started, and now they're, somebody who's a social media influencer, and they grew up knowing about royalties and clawbacks and mezzanine financing and all that stuff due to us. And now they're just way more articulate when they can come pitch us.
Why did Shark Tank become such a monster platform?
I think because people started to realize, I think the first 2 or 3 seasons, people didn't know what it was. Well, are you in the tank with sharks? Who gets the money? When do they win? And what's the game? And, all that stuff. And, due to, 8 people, 10 people, 20 people a year going out and saying, I really got the money and here's my business, and then going on separate platforms, I think the tentacles of the show started to reach out. People started to realize that, I can sit here on my couch and talk all the crap I want about how I want to be rich and famous and or do something. And this person on the screen was doing the same thing, and they got out and they busted their ass. And then they got out there and did it. So I have no excuse. And also, I think people started to realize that they could watch a show with their family and say, now I know how to negotiate to get what I want, whether it's getting the remote control away from my significant other, or whether it's getting a raise or getting some funding. And I think that it was just so informative that people were smarter at the water cooler on Monday morning and sharing the information, and kind of went viral before viral was viral,
What pisses you off the most from someone pitching? What is the one thing that drives you nuts when you're sitting there? Because, I have my own opinion too, but what drives you crazy?
What drives me crazy is somebody with their hat in their hand, they have $2 million in the bank already, and they already have funding by various amount of people, and they're asking us for more money. I believe that they're exploiting the platform, they're exploiting the people, they're taking the chance away from another family who probably risked it all for 5 years, and now they only have one last chance is to see the sharks, and we can only see only a certain amount of people. So I think they're greedy, selfish bastards, to tell you the truth. And especially when they're doing that, I think even if they don't get a deal, they already got funding and they're looking for a commercial, even if they don't get a deal. And I just think they're savages and just nasty people. They remind me of you.
So your big beef there is they took a slot away from somebody that could have really used the dough. But what do we call those? Gold diggers, right? Got gold done.
Gold diggers, whores, whatever it is, but they're just nasty people.
All right, listen, we got a lot of questions to get to, but before we start answering, because I've got some doozies for you. These come from all around the world, and so you're going to be answering some of these questions. I got a book here, all right? This thing's called Daymond John, Powershift. This is shameless promotion. Shameless promotion.
Yes.
Okay.
Buy the best.
Why should I even help you sell one more of these? I don't get anything out of it. I'm not getting a royalty out of this deal. But here I am helping you sell another one of these books. What is this book, number 18 from you?
Yeah, this is number 5, and it already is a national bestseller. Why should you push the book? Because no matter how nasty and you are, you actually, at the end of the day, you want to help other entrepreneurs, and that book helps other entrepreneurs in this tough time we're in right now.
The reason I want to read this book is I'm going to get examples of people who have actually taken some adversity and turned it into something amazing, building out their own franchise. That's really, we've got examples of very successful entrepreneurs in here, right?
That's exactly it. But I also show you how to negotiate, because it's not about negotiating when you see Kevin and Daymond on Shark Tank. It's about what influence have you built prior. It's how you negotiate in the best interest for the person on the other side of the table, and how you nurture a relationship afterwards. And I give everything from body language in there, negotiation tips, to mental negotiation tips. So that's what the book is about.
How have you changed your strategy for marketing this, Daymond? Because just before you launched this, you usually do a book tour. I go to these things.
Yeah.
I got my signed copy here. That's cool. Look at this, signed by Daymond John. That means I can put it on eBay, maybe make $5. I'm really excited about that. But at the end of the day, you didn't get to do that here. What strategy did you use to get this out there if it's now a #1 seller?
Yeah, exactly. So I had the Powershift myself. Normally you go to a bunch of bookstores, as you know, and you do these tours with these thousands of people in arenas, or in your speaking engagements, you tell them that I will stay an extra hour longer if you buy 500 books, and I'll sign or take pictures of everybody else. But now I've had to adjust to do way more podcasts. I've had to do way more streaming platform, digital book signings, where I'm signing it right now, and you're digitally there, and you ask me what to put in the book, and I have to do that for 5 hours at a time. This happened to me. Believe it or not, FUBU put out an album, which was a compilation of known artists and brand new artists back in 2001. And when I put out that album, I spent $3 million on the album. And when I put out that album, the day I put it out, 9/11 had just happened. So I'm used to putting out things when the world is looking for, they're on the news or they're nesting. So I was kind of used to this already. And I think that's why the book still made it to, the top of the national bestsellers, because I've been virtually shifting the same way I'm showing.
Interesting. Let's get to the questions, because I got a ton of them here. You ready?
Yeah.
So here we go. This one's from Thomas.
Hi, Kevin. First off, let me tell you I'm a huge fan, so keep up the great work. I know you are a pretty big watch guy, and I would like to know what your opinion is on what the effect will be on the resale of the luxury watch market, particularly high-end watches. We've seen companies like Patek and Audemars Piguet hold their resale value. Do you think this will continue with what's going on?
So Thomas is asking you, but you love watches. You're always wearing a nice piece on your wrist. I love watches.
Yeah.
What's going to happen after this, Daymond?
I would have to really, you're real. I like watches. You love your obsessed with watches. When I first bought my first $1 million worth of watches, when I sold them back, I don't think that I did a good deal. I only made $400,000 on them. So maybe I bought the wrong pieces. Maybe they were counterfeit. I would crust out one of my Patek Philippe's are crusted out with a lot of diamonds, but they're not Patek Philippe diamonds. They are Pookie's diamonds. So I ruined the watch. So I'm gonna ask you about, what do you think about that the market and how it'll bounce back or not?
I think it's going to get really interesting, because right now I work with a lot of different makers and maisons, as they call them. Most of the watchmakers that are the most valuable on earth, like an AP or a Rolex or a Patek watchmaker or FP Journe watchmaker, they're over 60 years old. So they are now quarantined up in the mountains. They're not going into Geneva. They're not even going near Paris. They're not going anywhere. They're not working. There is no production going on of any Rolexes, for example, the most coveted watch on earth, you could argue. So if someone said to you, you could get a rainbow Rolex Daytona right now, a brand new one in a box, would it be worth more than it was 12 weeks ago or less? I'd argue more, because people really covet those watches, and certain people that love that stuff like to have it.
Let's think about it another way. What if the market drives up and there's not a lot of available funds out there, and unfortunately people are passing or they need to raise capital? Don't you think there may be a flood of inventory out there and not enough buyers?
You're absolutely right. That's the whole concept of supply and demand. But you can look at the price every hour of every watch, an AP, a Rolex, a JP Journe, FP Journe. You can check that by the hour all around the world, and prices have not corrected yet. In fact, some have gone up. So Daymond, I'm actually shooting a piece on watches as an asset class right now, and I've got some of these watches that Thomas is talking about. I don't know why we just don't settle this debate right now. Let's have a look at them, and then we'll just go right online and see what the mark-to-market price is. That might be the easiest thing to do. Let me grab them. I know he's talking about AP and Patek Philippe. So, you know, I've got them here. So here's an AP Jumbo, very desirable watch. Here's a Patek Philippe 5711 1A, the blue face, very desirable. Here is a, you know, blinged out, as you said earlier. This is a blinged out Rolex. This is a rose rainbow, very rare watch. But you know, I know people are going to criticize by basically saying, well, you know, you're only picking really exclusive watches. But what's the difference between this and picking stocks? I mean, if you're an investor, you're picking stocks you think are great. If you're an investor in watches as an asset class, you're picking watches that you think are great. I think these are great watches to invest in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use an app called Chrono 24 and go look at the actual spot prices and just on a percentage basis to see how these things have gone up or down. This is spot pricing like as of last night. So, you know, I don't know. It's not going to be easy to argue. So let's look at these watches. Okay, let's start with a Patek Philippe 5711. Thomas talked about that, or Patek anyways. Is this a good investment or not? I'm talking about if you bought it at retail and held on to it. It has appreciated 116%. Yeah, I think that's a pretty good investment. All right, let's go to Jumbo AP. It's a nice watch. I've tricked it out with a red band so I can wear it on television. Let's go check that out. Let's look at what a Jumbo is trading for right now. And so had you bought the Jumbo at retail, you're up 70%. That's pretty good. Now let's, now this, by the way, Daymond, this is not Pookie's Diamonds, buddy. This is Rolex Jewelers making this watch. That's what makes it desirable. So let's see how that one has done. A Rainbow Daytona Rose Gold. And the answer is, let's see. Yeah, okay. This little puppy is up 141%. I rest my case, Your Honor. Now, I'm not telling people to buy these watches. I mean, given the environment out there, I think it's a good idea to keep your powder dry. But watches as an asset class is what I'm talking about. This has done way better than the stock market. There's no question. So I think it's like rare art. I mean, that's the way to look at it. And I think that certain pieces, and just like you have to be very selective in art, and you have to be very selective in stocks and bonds, you have to be very selective in watches. But the fun thing about these is they're great to wear, and you hold on to them and they appreciate in value. That's a real little sweetie. But, you know, that's my point. I think we've answered Thomas's question. We did a lot of work on it, actually. But those of you who are watch lovers, we learn together every day. Let's move on.
I think the first thing he should do is send that money immediately over to me at chocolathethunder.com, and I will put that money to work for him.
Daymond decided to rebrand himself this year, Chocolate Thunder. Yeah, I don't get it either. But I was there the moment it happened on the Shark Tank set. Watch this. This is crazy stuff.
Mark, can you please don't taken out all day. Mark, excuse me. Chocolate Thunder said he would like to walk on the set.
What is this?
Where's the light at? We have a lightning ready. Everything's ready.
Is this Chocolate Thunder says? Chocolate Thunder says walk on the set. Chocolate Thunder says put your hands on your head. Chocolate, put your feet on your.
I feel a hater somewhere. Why, yes. It is Chocolate Thunder.
I can't believe it. Chocolate. Oh, chocolate. Yeah. Chocolate Thunder.
We may proceed.
Dumbest shit I've ever seen.
Chocolate Thunder.
You can't believe how far you get when you spread $40 around with the crew. This is what happens. I'm ready.
Here's a question from Brock Tuttle.
Hello, Mr. Wonderful. My name is Brock, and I'm 22 years old. I wanted to know your opinion on franchises, things such as risk, and if it's a good investment. I've actually purchased 2 restaurant franchises with my brother, and we went 50-50 on them. I believe our restaurant concepts have lots of potential in our area, and we are using most of our inheritance to pursue this. So I would appreciate any advice or opinions that you might have. Thank you so much.
Okay, let me summarize that one for you, Daymond. It's Brock and his brother took their inheritance and invested in 2 different restaurant franchises. That's got to be tough because we know what's happening in the restaurant business now. But what do you think, generally speaking, about becoming a franchisee? Where's your head at on that?
I like the franchise model. I think that if, you want to learn off of the Kevin O'Leary and the Daymond Johns of the world who busted their ass and figured out how to make this thing work if it's a good franchise model. I know, listen, you could have a franchise now, but maybe they have a Papa John's franchise right now when pizza is going through the roof, right? So I like that because they've already figured out what to do, and you don't have to figure out what to do. You just have to figure out how to do the best at what you're doing, as well as that give you the tools and everything else to maybe go ahead and extend and open other products. I really do like franchise ideas. Only franchise that I say you stay away from is the ones that are 24 hours. That's the biggest challenge, the 24 hours one, because you make the bulk of your money during the day and then you eat into your profits at night, generally. But I like franchise.
Plus, you have to staff 24 hours. That's not easy to do. You got to be a zombie in a bag at the same time.
Exactly.
There's another question in there, Daymond, I want to hear you add on. He's saying he's a partner with his brother. Where are you at in investing with family members? Yes or no on that?
I rather not. However, even if you do, I think prior to anything, you got to pull up the right structure and make sure you have the right structure. I think that the structure should be, of course, it can't be 50-50 because then you got the tie that'll hurt you. So everybody needs to know their job, and just like a stranger. I get 60%, you get 40%, you handle finance, I handle distribution, and we have a tiebreaker with this person, that person. But the whole lovey, happy thing, it probably never works out, when you're brothers or siblings or even best friends. Be very careful. Business is still business. And what if one of you just get ran over by a bus? What if one of you find a great significant other and decides to leave and go to Bali and carve canoes? Who's going to run the business, and how is the structure going to work? So you have to have the structure in place.
Problem is you can't fire your mother, or you can, but then it's a really tough Sunday night dinner.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to another question here. This one's from Emma. All right, Emma, what do you got? Hi, Mr. Wonderful. I'm planning a very small holiday dinner this weekend, and I want to cook, well, it's a holiday, yeah, it's Easter. I want to cook a honeyed ham and a small turkey. I thought I'd like to try deconstructing the turkey. What do you know about that? Well, Emma, you've come to the right place. Chef Wonderful knows everything about deconstructing a turkey, and it's a very controversial topic right now amongst the chef community. But first, I have to invoke him. How do I get Chef Wonderful? It's very easy. You snap your fingers twice, and you say, Ichi Wawa Caramba! Did someone call Chef Wonderful? To the rescue. Look, I'll walk you through the whole thing, Emma. It's that time of the year again. Chef Wonderful outside. Why? I'm about to go purchase the turkey for the big holiday dinner. When you cook a bird, the leg and the breast cook at different times. So if you're trying to just cook for the leg, it cooks faster than the breast, and the breast is undercooked. If you cook for the breast, the leg is tough and dried out. There is a way to solve this problem. It's called deconstructing the bird, which we're going to do right now. First things first, you got to separate the wings from the legs, right off the main body. Ooh la la. Look how fast this is happening. It doesn't take a long time. Beautiful. Look at that. Isn't that a gorgeous bird? That's going to serve a family of about 14, all coming apart. Some people would say this is so controversial. What are you going to do? This is the art of deconstructing the turkey and then spatchcocking the breast. Very important. That's about to happen. We're about to do it. Everybody's talking. And everybody's happy except the bird, of course. That's the spatchcocking going on right now. Oh yeah. We don't need the breast bone itself, so we're going to leave that out when we cook it, but all the rest, look at perfect. Ooh la la. Now, before I put it in the oven, we're talking about the brine that I've been using here. Now, there's a raging debate amongst the chef community regarding brine. Do you wet brine or do you dry brine? Do you know why? If you dry brine, as I've done here with a little thyme and a little salt, and left it in the fridge overnight without saran wrap on it to maybe crisper, extra crisper, that's the whole idea. When you're getting this going this way, you're allowing the bird to dry out a little bit, making it drier than the old wet brine days. Now, the wet brine days were very, everybody did it from the 40s, 50s, 60s. And now this new en vogue dry brine, because you get a crispier outside, a crispier skin. So, this is now a turkey that is not that attractive. I'm just being honest with you. I think some of the family, when they get out the fantastic O'Leary fine wine later, this is a Chardonnay. Magnifique, c'est spectaculaire. This is going to be great with this turkey. But the whole idea, they were expecting me to come out with the whole bird and then use one of my ninja knives to carve it. Not going to happen. I'm going to be cutting these and preparing these pieces in the kitchen. I'll present them beautifully, as you'll see later, but it's not the same thing. Now, is it worth it? We don't know. Because if they cook perfectly, as I'm suggesting this is going to work, because I'll check the breast temperature, I'll check the leg temperature, the thigh, the wing, I'll make sure it's all between 150 and 175 so it's perfectly cooked, and I will be removing the pieces as they're perfectly cooked, which you can't do if the bird is whole. So that's what you're sacrificing. Presentation value versus a perfectly cooked poulet or turkey. One or the other. I mean, if you can get a perfectly cooked bird, what's wrong with that? And that's really what you're trading off. Now, if you can live with bringing this out and all the kids going, oh, where's the bird? It's all chopped up. Well, and you can give them the best turkey they've ever eaten, that's the trade-off. Well, we're going to find out. I'm going to put this bird in the oven now. Oh, the amount of work I put into this, I can't tell you. And you saw how it was perfectly dismembered, or deconstructed is a more proper way to say it, the butcher. But now it goes into the oven. Are you ready? Check it out. Perfectly brined, dried out in the fridge overnight. Ooh la la! Aha! Chef Wonderful. Taking big risk here with the family. Oh, that's hot. Yeah. There we go. Spectacular. Now I'm going to be monitoring with the probe. I'm going to give it at least, remember, I got up to 400 degrees to start, dropping it down to 350. Then I'll be monitoring to get up to 150 in each piece, probing for that perfect temperature, then removing that part, and then letting it settle, and then carving. We will see you soon. Is this going to work? Who knows? We're going to find out. Here, now this is the moment of truth. I have my assistant Christine and her son Dylan working with me now. What is the temperature of the breast, ladies and gentlemen?
Well, I don't know what it is right now.
Well, let's test right now because that's what matters.
Okay, exactly.
So use the probe,
okay,
because I have a feeling that the breast...
Pull it out for us?
I will absolutely do that for you. Cameraman, close up please, because the breast looks finished, but the legs do not. Christine, chop, 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 let's go.
Excuse me. Okay, we are... Okay, we're perfect.
All right, so what we're going to be doing now is separating the breast and leaving in the other appendages because they're not finished yet. That is the whole idea of deconstructing the bird. This is the total controversy. We've lost the form factor. This looks like poulet pancake. It's not that exciting to look at, and certainly the family's not going to be excited about this because it's just slabs of bone and flesh. But will it be spectacular? Spatula to get separation. No, I don't want you to rip it. Wait, here we go.
I'm not ripping it.
There we go.
Perfect.
Very good. So that's the whole idea here. What we're doing is basically saying, let's cook them at different times to get the perfect. Can we get a close-up here, cameraman? Notice that these look undercooked. The breast looks ready. That's what I'm talking about. And while we're at it, shouldn't I have a sip of the fantastic O'Leary Cabernet Sauvignon blended with a little Merlot? Oh, c'est bon. You know, you don't have to have white wine with turkey. Wow, this is really controversial. Wow, I can't believe it. Everybody agrees?
Yes.
Shocking. Absolutely shocking. I think you've scored something big. I'm willing to endorse it, although my feelings are sort of a traditional guy, romantic. I feel sorry for the bird. It never gets to show itself in its true form ever again. But the good news is we've got the O'Leary fine wine. Ooh, that really makes up for the difference. All right, thank you, everybody. Let's chow down. Now wait, let's do another plug for the book. This book by Daymond John is called Powershift. He wrote it while he was in prison. It's fantastic. He had lots of time on his hands. Now he's out and he's selling it. Buy this thing. It's got every one of his books a bestseller. I have to admit that's true. No question. That's damn good advice, Daymond, and thank you for it. Bye, everybody. Really interesting episode of Ask Mr. Wonderful. We'll see you again next week. Thanks, Daymond.
Thank you.
All right, buddy, what do you want to do now?